we were curious, what would happen if we asked our guests 5 key questions? The same 5 questions about joy, creativity, and gratitude. What might we learn? Listen now to find out. So I have Gary Hirsch back again, and we're just going to do a little bit of a deep dive. So I'm going to throw some questions at Gary and just we'll see what he has to say about them. So first question, being a guy who is so into spreading joy, is what brings you joy?
Oh, well, right now, silence, quiet, and pausing, which totally is like a plug from our friend Rob's book, but because we've got a friend, Kirsten and I, who he wrote a book called Do Pause. But honestly, things are so crazy and moving around. So I get a lot of joy right now from my dog walks, my 20-minute meditations in the morning, and naps.
Oh, a nap sounds heavenly right now. What are you grateful for?
Oh, geez. Single thing I'm grateful for, people around me that allow me to be me, that don't really have a lot of expectation beyond what they know of me. So I don't feel this sort of invisible pressure that we can feel. And I'm surrounded by folks like that right now, and it feels great.
I love that. That just gave me chills and heart happiness. When you get stuck, what do you do?
Shower.
I can see that.
I hope not.
Okay, I know what that does for me. What does a shower do for you?
Oh, there's a physical sort of everything loosens up because there's hot water flowing all over you.
Yeah.
I'm a shower singer. So when I go in the shower, I'll usually bring, right now, weirdly, I mean, I'm right now I'm into a lot of like reliving my 80s rock moments. So I just did the entire first Boston album over the last 3 days in the shower. I mean, tell me there's a better song right now than More Than a Feeling. So yeah, there are. But honestly, that's what I do. I'll belt it out in the shower with a lot of hot water. That's what helps.
I love it. One of the shaman friends that I have, that is a place too where just the water running over you, you're literally sending energy down the drain, right? The stuff that doesn't belong there anymore. So I love that. What surprises you most about where you are today?
I guess I'm surprised that I've been doing what I've been doing for so long. Yeah. I think it's probably that's it. I think it's when I hear people, like, it's funny, like I'll read bios and things of other folks and they're like, for the last 10 years I've been, and that's a big claim to fame. It's like for 10 years. I'm like, for the last 25 years is what I get to say it. And that doesn't sound, I'm not proud of that. It sounds weird. It's surprising. Because in my normal life, like in a day-to-day life, I do a million things all the time. I'm like, oh, let's make some art, or let's go do some improv, or let's go ride a bike. So my brain is sort of ADD-ish, but my career is super single-minded. So that's surprising to me.
Yeah, it's awesome. You guys do such good work. So what do you wish more people knew or understood about either creativity in general or their own creativity?
Man, I think everything in the world has been said and turned into a cliche around creativity. So hopefully these won't sound like it too. But here, I think the biggest block to creativity is yourself and self-doubt, and who are these people we have conversations with in our heads that are saying things like, people won't like that and you should change that thing. Like, that's just you. So, but we have this whole community of critics inside our own brains, which we all know that, we've heard that before. So I think there comes a point where you have to make yourself do things that you absolutely don't believe in, actually. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's like, I don't believe in promoting myself. Well, you should check out if it's just because you're so scared to. You should check out, like, you should at least question it. It's like, people, we talk about pushing yourself creatively all the time, but do you push yourself into places where you just created a boundary of belief and therefore that's what you fall onto all the time?
Yep.
So I think I think creativity is about questioning everything, including the things you never question. That sounded deep.
Love that.
Probably been said before.
You got to get out of the comfort zone to get there. So how do you deal with the critics?
Oh, how do I deal with it?
I mean, you do it anyway.
I hate being critiqued and feedback, but I invite it. That's how I deal. I mean, the dealing with it. So you can be so scared to get feedback and critique, you never invite it or get it.
Right.
That's the problem. How do I deal with somebody who doesn't like what I do or whatever with it? I cry in the shower instead of sing. I mean, I don't like it, but it's important to have it.
Yeah.
I'm like, welcome it and then hate when it happens, but I'll keep doing that. That's your learning moment.
Yes.
Because I could easily go, I just won't. I won't invite it at all. I don't want to listen to it. I don't care. So that's the difference. I don't deal with it. I hate it, but I do it.
Right. I love it. And if you get feedback that doesn't resonate with you, what do you do with that?
I decide that person's crazy.
Nice.
No. It depends what it is, right? I mean, most of the time I'm an experimenter. So if I think it has a grain of truth, I'll try it. Whatever it is they said, if I can try it under some conditions that aren't too vulnerable, I'll probably try it.
Okay. One of the things I'm working on letting go of right now is approval. This wanting approval. And I don't even, my whole life I've viewed myself, I mean, my postcard I've had since I was a sophomore in high school is, if you follow the flock, you could end up a lamb chop, right? So I've convinced myself I don't need approval. And yet I'm noticing, especially as we're stepping into the podcast and all these other things, I care about approval.
Yeah, public space. I mean, what's the count on this podcast? You better check it, because if it's not up to a number before, this was terrible. Right? Because there's also that part too, which is to kind of go, I think there's something cool around that. Like you have self-awareness, which a lot of people don't, and you have self-awareness around the fact that you want approval. That's a big step up, because then you can when you go look at your podcast numbers and they're not where you want them to be, you can be like, darn it. But then you go like, yeah, but look, I know what I'm doing here. I'm feeding this little ego beast that I know shouldn't be getting fed, but I have to do it. Like the self-awareness is kind of your way out of it, I think.
Right. And I think the self-awareness is then when you can do something with it. When you're not aware of it, it's again kind of one of those monsters that's in the closet behind you.
Yeah.
And when you are, you can do so. I'm just aware when it shows up. And the minute it shows up, my reminder to myself is, I'm not doing this for approval. You know, I believe strongly that this is something that makes a difference in people's lives and their work and whatever. And the more they can hear these stories and see how they can play with this and try it and find the ways that it works for them. So whether people, agree with that or not, doesn't really matter.
All right. But it's always testable, right? Because it's like, that sounds awesome. And are you okay with an audience of one?
I probably wouldn't keep doing this with an audience of one, because this doesn't, but in terms of getting the word out, I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
And
that's
because,
cool.
That's probably half true and maybe half not true, but I do believe that we don't see all the people we make a difference to. A lot of it we never will see or know how we've touched people. And so if we're again looking for that number, for that quantitative thing that we're so obsessed with in this day and age, how we can quantify things, we're actually not getting the right feedback. And I also, if I can make a difference for one other person, like people have done for me, that's better than none.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that it gets very, so the rubber hits the road. The theory is awesome. And then you're on your second year of your project and 3 people have seen it. And then you're like, So there does get to be a place of sort of effort to,
right.
And the adjustment of what success is for you. You can adjust it all the time.
It is. And I look at you with the bots. And you started with sending these out to clients as a bit of joy, right? And then they started turning in, people like me called you within a week or 2 of putting them on our desks and said, okay, what did you do to these things? Because they actually come to life and talk to you. And I'm so in love with this guy. And that then led to, okay, let's get you in art galleries and let's do some things. And that kind of happened, but it also didn't happen on any massive scale at the time. And what, 10, 8, 9 years later,
10 years, yeah, 10.
These guys have slowly, like literally started a movement and almost a revolution that has spread.
Whoa, I can't say that, but you can. Go for it.
I can say
That's
that.
awesome.
And is spreading across the world. So sometimes things just take time too.
Totally. That is true.
So there you have it. 5 questions with Gary Hirsch. And he sort of turned the tables on me, which was also led to a very interesting conversation. Gary's really good at doing things like that. Thank you, Gary, for playing and creating with me today. And for those of you listening, let us know how you like this. What questions do you wish we were asking? What would you like to hear the amazing people we get to explore and play with about their experiences? And if you really like this, subscribe. There's so much more awesomeness to come. We look forward to playing with this more and more each week and getting even better at what we're doing every single week. Here's to your creativity.